Well, let's return to the real world and those measures. As I was discussing earlier on, they're coming to the House of Commons. There is a big Conservative rebellion brewing on that.
Yes.
Now, you could join in that because you have said yourself as a party that these measures are not going to work against Omicron. So given that the measures aren't going to work, why are you not trying to, as it were, force a vote of confidence in the Prime Minister?
Let me address that. I spoke to the government medical advisors on Monday, on Wednesday. I spoke to my own advisors yesterday, and I think the measures that are going to be introduced on Tuesday are necessary because of the great threat now that the new variant poses. And in those circumstances, the Labour Party will show leadership. We will do what is in the public interest to protect the NHS and to protect the public. Now, of course, I've had lots of people saying to me, well, of course, you could take political advantage of the Prime Minister's weakness and bring him down.
I'm sorry to jump in.
But we have always acted in the public interest throughout this pandemic. We will do that on Tuesday. We will show the leadership that the Prime Minister is not able to show. And one last thing on this, Andrew, if I may, because he has so damaged his authority that without Labour votes on Tuesday, he is not even able to discharge the basic function of government, keeping the public safe. Because
so you've got leverage. How are you going to use that leverage?
Well, in the first instance, we will vote in the public interest on Tuesday. But we have been saying for months that the booster programme needs to be boosted itself. We said that 2 months ago. It needed to go up to 500,000 a day. The government's behind the curve again. There are other measures we've been calling for a very long time. Sort out statutory sick pay. One of the big problems is people can't afford to self-isolate, and a lot of the infection is running through our schools.
Are you going to make the government change direction on that, for instance?
Well, I hope so, Andrew.
Well, you say you hope so because up to now, at every point, you have voted with the government in this long saga. You vote again and again.
We have voted in the public interest.
With the government.
Yes, because,
with the government.
Well, no. The position I've taken is this: we listen to the government scientists and our own advisors, and we follow the science. And where it is absolutely clear that measures are necessary in the public interest, we have and we will vote for them. And so it's the opposite of party politics.
Yeah.
It's actually
you yourself have said that Boris Johnson is, and I quote, a threat to public health.
Yes.
Why don't you take him on then?
Well, he is a threat to public health because we can argue all morning about what the rules should be, whether this measure is necessary or that measure is necessary. The critical question is, will the public follow the rules? And they have been following the rules, but now that trust is broken, and many people are now saying, well, if the Prime Minister is going to allow breaking of the rules, parties, quizzes going on in Downing Street, when we're being asked not to see our loved ones, well, why should I follow the rules? And so, of course, there's the question of what the conditions should be, but there's also this basic question of trust, and that is broken with the Prime Minister.
Okay.
And that's why he is unfit for office. That's
so
why
he's unfit for office. He's a threat to public health, but you're keeping him in office.
Well,
just explain that.
Andrew, if I could snap my fingers, call on him to resign and he would resign, then of course that'd be the easiest thing for the leader of the opposition to do. The question I have to answer is, well, what would we do differently? What would a Labour government do differently? And if you had a Labour government, you'd have a government that was based on honesty and integrity. You'd have a government that was ahead of the curve, not behind the curve. And actually, you'd have a government that had a culture of complying with standards in public office. There are 7 standards in public office, the Nolan principles. We would abide by all of them. Boris Johnson can't abide by any of them.